All right, Shalom. Before I get started, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, bahasham, Rawchaa Qadash. This the brother of Yahawah, here with another hopeful, edifying lesson to the elect body of Yahawah, bahasham, Rawchaa. This I got a video I put together. Some short clips. Is basically showing Esau, Edom's determination of world domination, basically, and leading to world extinction through the blessing that he was blessed with, which is the sword, with all sorts of warfare. That can be literal warfare, biological warfare, psychological warfare, chemical warfare, and the list goes on and on in relation to warfare. This is basically like the scripture says in Matthew. I'm not sure what chapter. Um, if the Lord didn't shorten the days, there would be no flesh left to be saved, and the earth was given into the hands of the wicked, pursuant to Job 9:24. And we know who the wicked is. It's the nation of Edom, which is the self-proclaimed white race. And through his blessing, which is the sword, that's how he's living. Genesis, the book of Genesis, chapter 27. By thy sword thou shalt live, which was the blessing of Esau. And all these wars that he's waging on various nations of people throughout the earth, is without any legal, or it's not backed by a righteous standpoint. He come up with this propaganda, which is psychological warfare, to justify invading these different lands, right? But he's being exposed. The wicked that's being revealed, right? And the Lord has lift the skirt. The Lord had lifted the skirt on Esau, Edom, revealing him as who he is, the wicked. He can no longer hide himself, pursuant to the book of Obadiah, right? Or Salakia, the book of Jeremiah 49, right? And he's being exposed, he's being revealed. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, that the wicked shall be revealed in this time. And this is the time that the wicked is being revealed, Edom, right? And he's waging war throughout the whole globe. and it's being shown that the lies that he perpetrate in the media is being seen as exactly that. They are lies. And he's waging these wars to take over people's lands and resources, natural resources, right? Because that's what basically was a part of the blessing too, that is in the book of Genesis. I'm gonna just go there just real quick. The book of Genesis, chapter 27. It says that Esau, it says this blessing right here. Genesis 27 and 39 says, and it says, and Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of heaven from above, right? So you go in that place, you go into let me see what it says in the New Living Translation. I don't want to get too far into this, but finally his father Isaac said unto him, you will live away from the richestness of the earth, and away from the dew of the heaven above, right? So you go into that basically, and Isaac His father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth. You go into the fatness of the earth. Uh, Let me see. It might be the dew. Like it might be. Is it the dew of heaven? Let me see. Let me go into these words real quick. Earth. Let me see. It might be the dew. The dew. It's like yeah. Yeah, fatness. It says fatness, fat peace, fertile places, richly prepared for prepared food. Oil. See, look, it says oil, right? Which is ironic. Not really, but you know, that's one of the one of the main things that he's conquering these lands due to oil, fatness, fatness of the earth. It says oil, right? Oil here, right? And it also says on fertile spots, going to the natural resources, right? Fertile spots, fertile places, which is the oil, gold, uh, gold, oil, and diamonds, which is their god, right? Gold, oil, natural resources, all that goes into fertile spots. So that's his blessing, and his blessing and conquest to take over these fertile spots. He must wage war on people, right? Which is a part of his blessing that Isaac blessed him with. I'm just going to it says fertile spots. Let's see what it give of the fertile spots of the earth are fertile spots. Fertile spots of the earth meaning. Let me see what it give us. So like it says fertile spots of the earth refers to specific locations, regions, and pockets of land that possess exceptionally rich nutrient filled soil, uh, sufficient water, and favorable conditions for supporting abundant vegetation, agriculture, or human settlement. These areas are often contrast with surrounding arid, infertile, or unproductive environments. Let me see. So basically, yeah, you know that can also vegetation, fertile spots, fertile. Like here, fertile places, fertile fertile spots of the earth with and just put natural resources. Yeah, because I don't want to dwell on this too. Like fertile crescent. Let me see right here. It says fertile crescent, a historic crescent-shaped region in the Middle East, covered parts of modern-day Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Palestine, Jordan, and Egypt. It is recognized as one of the first regions where settled agricultural began, supported by fertile soil, right? So that's ironic that these lands in this area, this region, which they call the Middle East, which is the west of Asia, right? But it's known as the modern day as Middle East. These places, this where Esau is trying to very much reconquer, like conquer these areas: Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Palestine, Jordan, Egypt. Let me see. Fertile spots of the earth with natural resources such as, gotta get more technical, I guess, or more specific. Technical, more specific, such. Spelling as gold and oil. It says fertile spots of the earth with natural resources refers to specific geographic regions that um, simultaneously possess highly productive soil for agriculture and significant underground reserves of valuable minerals and fuel, right? So basically, yeah, fertile spots. That's a fertile. The spot is fertile with oil. They want it. They got high oil reserves. They got high gold reserves. They got precious minerals like diamonds, uh, lithium, things like that. Because these data centers is they trying to bring these in abundance because it's a part of the new world order, which is regulated by AI, artificial intelligence, computers, um, robotics, things of that nature. So they need these data centers to be erected all over the globe, for basically, and they're trying to get all these natural resources and like to um, to make computer chips and things of that nature, so they can you know build up this infrastructure. So they need natural resources, and of course gold and oil and all these things as such are fall in the same category. So that falls into his blessing, right? So it says fertile spots of the earth with natural resources. Fertile spots of the earth with natural resources refer to specific geographic regions that simultaneously possess highly productive soil for agriculture and significant underground reserves of valuable minerals and fuel, such as gold, oil, and gas. Right. So, like you said, going to this, it says fatness. It says oil. His blessing is the fatness of the earth. It goes into oil, right? One of the natural resources, and that's one of the major ones that's being talked about that Esau want to get his hands on. So, in order to get the fatness of the earth, he have to pursue it with the sword, right? Conquest, colonization through warfare, right? Going back to Genesis, so you can just get a little understanding. Genesis 27, and let me see, Genesis 27 and 38, right? It says, and Esau said unto his father, has thou but one blessing? My father, bless me, even me also my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword, shalt thou live. Right? So he's living by the sword. So in order to get this blessing, basically, in order to get this fatness of the earth, you know how you have to get it. by waging war, by the blessing of the sword, by he's living by the sword, which is warfare, right? So you're just going to the word sword, and it says a war, basically. Let me see. Then I'm gonna go back here. Sword, cut, knife, other sharp, dagger, knife. So the sword, dude, it's a sword. I'm trying to see it. Kill with the sword, right? So it says here. It says to kill with the sword, right? Right there. So he must in order to get the fatness of the earth, he must kill with the sword. He must live by the sword. Basically, it's warfare, right? So basically, so you get an understanding of what's going on here, and that's how Esau Edom is getting the fatness of the earth, and by doing so, he's basically destroying everything in sight, because that's what the scripture said he is. He's also the son of perdition. Perdition mean he's the son of perdition. Perdition means destruction. So he's going around the earth destroying everything in his wake, right? And which I quoted or mentioned from Matthew, I think, I don't know if it's the 24th. If no flesh. Yeah, Matthew 24 and 22, it says, except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened, right? Because this devil is destroying everything in his wake, even himself. If the Lord didn't shorten the days, um, he would destroy everything, even himself. Um, and you can see that thing, see it if you're keeping up to what's going on, from the food, from the air, water, everything, every common household usage, you know, is tainted with poisons and this bioengineered food, which is detrimental to your health, you know. Now, on top of what he's doing, he's demonstrating now, which that's biological and chemical warfare, right? So, and he's literally waging the sword, killing with the sword, the instruments of war. And that's how he's getting the fatness of the earth, by his blessing, which is the sword, which he's going to demonstrate here, right? In these, which is, just to give you an understanding for the people that don't know. So, that Esau Edom is a self-proclaimed white man, and he's waging these wars because that was a part of his blessing. In order to get the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven to remain in top, he must wage warfare and conquest of these different lands to get the fatness of the earth, which is the natural resources, oil, which we just seen for fatness. It's his oil. So here's this video. It says why the U.S. won't control of the Middle East. Oil, right?
The war in Iran follows U.S. wars on Iraq, two different wars on Iraq, war on Libya, war on Syria, war on Yemen. The list goes on and on. Why is the U.S. empire so obsessed with controlling this region? I mean, the answer is so obvious. Everyone knows. Oil. This raised.
So we just proved that, right? The fatness goes into Genesis 27, and going to this word fatness, it says what? Oil, right? So we're just going to go there once again. On to the word fatness, Mishman, however you pronounce it.
Strong's H 4924. Mishman. Mishman. Second entry. Shemanim. Shemanim.
So it says oil, right? So like the guy said in there, the fatness of the earth. So he's on fertile spots, fertile places that got natural resources also, which is oil, gold, diamond, lithium, whatever Esau values, or whatever he wants to make valuable out of the earth. These natural resources: oil, diamond, silver, lithium. These natural resources. He's going around the earth by the sword to obtain them. Like he said, so everybody knows the reason why they in the Middle East is for oil, the fatness of the earth. Which oil is the bloodline of the earth anyway. It's the earth bloodline.
For decades, the war in Iran follows U.S. wars on Iraq, two different wars on Iraq, war on Libya, war on Syria, war on Yemen. The list goes on and on. Why is the U.S. empire so obsessed with controlling this region? I mean, the answer is so obvious. Everyone knows. Oil. This raises another question. Why does the U.S. want to control all of this oil when you may know that the U.S. is actually the number one producer of oil on Earth by far? In fact, as of 2024, the U.S. made up 22% of global oil production, which is more than double the oil output of Saudi Arabia, which is the number 2 producer, and Russia, which is the number 3 producer. The United States is swimming in oil. So why does the U.S. also want to control the oil of Saudi Arabia and Venezuela and many other countries? Well, this brings us to the single most important issue, which is the U.S. dollar. The blood in the veins of the international financial system, the global reserve currency. This is the most powerful weapon that the U.S. empire has. Much more powerful than the U.S. military. The fact that the United States is the only country on Earth that can print the global reserve currency, and it prints a lot of dollars. And this gives the U.S. extreme power to, for instance, weaponize the international financial system by imposing unilateral sanctions that violate international law. But the U.S. has imposed unilateral sanctions on 1/3 of all of the countries on Earth. This is exactly what Iran has suffered from for decades, ever since the Iranian people had a revolution in 1979 that overthrew a U.S. puppet dictator. However, in recent years, the power of the U.S. dollar system has been eroding as especially China and Russia, but also other countries are pushing for de-dollarization and are seeking alternatives.
And that's the BRICS nation, right? And that's basically the collapse of Babylon the Great, the fall. Babylon has fallen, right? That basically falls into that prophecy that Babylon has fallen, meaning the de-dollarization, or however it's pronounced, right? They're trying to dethrone the petrodollar, and play on countries such as Russia and China, and also the BRICS nations coming up with alternatives to go about trading without the U.S. dollar, demonstrating the fall of Babylon.
The U.S. dollar. This has terrified the U.S. empire, which is why Donald Trump himself has publicly threatened that any country in BRICS, any global south country that tries to challenge the global dominance of what Trump calls the mighty U.S. dollar was threatened with 100% tariffs. Iran has been a major advocate for de-dollarization because it's been under illegal U.S. sanctions for decades. So Iran has been working with many countries to seek alternatives to the U.S. dollar, and Iran in fact proposed that BRICS should try to create a new global reserve currency The U.S. has been saying Iran has had nuclear weapons since like the 90s. When I was in the military, we went to other places other than Iraq and Afghanistan. When it comes to Iraq, we were sold an entire lie on that of nuclear weapons of mass destruction, chemical warfare, buildings, and all this and that. We had a mission going into a big warehouse where they believed weapons of mass destruction were being held at. Nothing was in there but chlorine, and we had dropped two 500-pound bombs on it. The weapons of mass destruction they were talking about it was gold bars. Saddam Hussein had a lot of gold and a lot, even more oil. That was the weapons we were going after.
So look, he's basically told you, it was all a lie, which is nothing new. It's been exposed that this war waged on Iraq, which is the ancient Babylon region, was off a lie, right? And basically, there's more proof. He served in the military, and he recognized, and he know that this war was a lie. That they had chlorine. There was no weapons of mass destruction, because that's why Esau paints. He has to paint people as the propaganda, which is psychological warfare, to justify him going into these different lands and covertly overthrowing these different governments. He have to paint a picture that he's doing it for a just cause. Basically, he's the devil. Devil means deceiver, so he have to deceive you with this propaganda. And the so-called justify going into these regions and overthrow these people to get their natural resources, their fatness of the earth, so you can get the fatness of the earth of these particular, what it says, fertile spots or fertile places, which oil, which goes into the word fatness, right? Also goes into these other natural resources. So you have to give um, um, a false narrative, basically, propaganda, so he can fool people that he's doing the right thing. And like he just basically said, it was chlorine. There was no weapons of mass destruction. The weapons of mass destruction that he was looking for, or what Saddam Hussein had, was oil, was gold and oil. That's what they got. And I seen pictures of that. Brethren has put photos of these Edomites with the gold from Saddam Hussein. These bars of gold had um, um, a lot of gold and a lot of oil. And so Esau, through the sword, is obtaining the fatness of the earth.
Mass destruction, the root of all evil. That entire raid, it was all a lie, and it is proven, documented, and America just keeps moving on like, okay, who's next? Right? Exactly. And you want me? I've been there. I was told that same lie, and I went there, and I saw the lie. You want me to believe this next one too, from the same people who already lied to me?
You want to believe this next one too? The next one, the Iranian thing that's going on along with he's waging war on. He took Venezuela, Cuba. He's going around the earth. Obtaining total control. Basically, he's trying to control the whole earth and everybody on it. The natural resources to the people. He's trying to obtain total control, but he's going about it destructively. He's going to destroy everybody in his wake if he continues. As it said in Matthew 24. He's going to destroy everybody in his wake, even himself, because that's all Esau can do. He's the son of perdition. He's not meant to rule the earth. He's ruling in a destructive manner, right?
Really talks about committing a war crime today. Our response: we will keep pressing, we will keep pushing, keep advancing, no quarter, no mercy for our enemies.
He said, we'll keep advancing, says no mercy to our enemies. That's another precept that the Lord said, no mercy will be given to him that show no mercy. And that's how Esau. How is it? Yeah. The book of James, chapter 2 and 13, it says, "For he shall have judgment without mercy, that have showed no mercy, and mercy rejoiceth against judgment," right? So that's how Esau is going going throughout the earth without, as he said it, with no mercy. He lies. He's merciless, man. You know, he lies and he lies to get what he wants, using the sword. You know, waging war through lies perpetrated in his narrative, right? And he's not showing mercy, and no mercy is going to be showed unto him.
Work crime today. Our response? We will keep pressing. We will keep pushing, keep advancing. No quarter, no mercy for our enemies. Hey, I'm Cody Harnish, UCMJ attorney. I'm a former JAG, prior Cav Scout, and now I boldly practice military law. In the law of armed conflict, no quarter means refusing to accept surrender. It means taking no prisoners. And that is illegal under U.S. law, international law, and the law of armed conflict. The DoD Law of War Manual itself says it is forbidden to declare that no quarter will be given. To do so would be a war crime. And under U.S. law and the UCMJ, it is criminal. Why? Because once an enemy fighter tries to surrender or is wounded or incapacitated, they are out of the fight or to combat.
And to go back to this word criminal, criminal go to the word, you know, crimson, which means red, right? That's what Edom means. Edom means red. You know, he's the criminal of the earth. He's the bloody man, right? Esau is the bloody man. He's the criminal of the earth, and that word criminal derives from the word crimson, which means red. That's why there's a phrase out there: "You've been caught red-handed," right? And basically, that's Esau. You know, he's been caught red-handed by meaning what he's been exposed. The Lord has exposed this devil in his time, and this is the time of him being exposed for who he is, and he can no longer hide himself. Killing them is a war crime. Now, to be clear, a statement at a press conference isn't the same as an operational order given to the troops. But remember, this is the guy who says lethality is more important than legality. Maximum lethality, not tepid legality. To the troops, remember, under the law of war, fight hard, fight aggressively, but if the enemy surrenders, you must accept it. That's the law. That's what the good guys do. Like, share, comment, or follow for more information on military law. And in the meantime, right here, his administration talk nowadays about the war in Iran. It is getting really hard for us not to come to the conclusion that they're starting to sound a lot like serial killers. Don't believe me? Let's have a listen. The Iranians are talking and the Americans are striking. U.S. Central Command releasing this video from Friday showing Karg Island, where up to 95% of Iran's crude oil is processed. Significant strikes there. President Trump telling media over the weekend, "We totally demolished Karg Island, but we may hit it a few more times just for fun. We've totally decimated it." Now compare that to this quote from the notorious Zodiac killer. And I quote, "I like killing people because it is so much fun." Now let's hear what Donald Trump's so-called Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, had to say early this month. "Death and destruction from the sky, all day long." So that's another precept: death and destruction from the sky, all day long. You know who's been ultimately doing that? It says, "Fire come down." Fire. That's in Revelation. Fire from heaven. Revelations 13 and 13 says, "And he doeth great wonders, so that he make fire come down from heaven on earth in sight of men," right? So that's Esau, Edom, the devil, right? Babylon the Great. right? He exercises all authority of the first beast. That first beast was the Roman Empire. The revived Roman Empire is NATO and the EU, headed by America, Babylon the Great, right? That deadly wound that was healed is Revelation chapter 13 and 12, and it says that he exercises all the power of the first beast before him and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on earth in sight of men. Right, that fire, these missiles that he shoots down on men, just like he said, Pete Hegseth declared that's what they're going to continue doing.
Oil is processed. Significant strikes there. President Trump telling media over the weekend, we totally demolished Carg Island, but we may hit it a few more times just for fun. We've totally decimated it. Now compare that to this quote from the notorious Zodiac killer. And I quote, I like killing people because it is so much fun. Now let's hear what Donald Trump's so-called Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, had to say early this month. Death and destruction from the sky, all day long.
Death and destruction from the sky. He made, how is that? From heaven, right? That's these nuclear missiles or whatever, drones or whatever they use. They making fire come down from heaven in the sight of men. He said all day long we're gonna wage death and destruction from the sky all day long. That's basically nuclear. That's missiles or airstrikes or drones or whatever they use. Missiles, drones.
We're playing for keeps. The only ones that need to be worried right now are Iranians that think they're going to live. Listening to that, it's really hard not to hear the words of Richard Ramirez, aka the Night Stalker. And I quote, serial killers do on a small scale what governments do on a large one. They are products of our times, and these are bloodthirsty times. But it's not just...
These are bloodthirsty times. That's what Edom is. He's the bloody man, right? I'm going to go back to that real quick because that's what Esau is, bloody men. These are bloodthirsty times. And Esau, Edom is the bloody man. I'm going to go back to this because I think this is almost the end of it.
It's not just his war in Iran. This is what President Donald Trump sounds like when he's talking about terrorizing Cuba. I do believe I'll be having the honor of taking Cuba. That's a big honor. Taking Cuba in some form, yeah. Taking Cuba. I mean, whether I free it, take it, I can do anything I want with it. You want to know the truth? Don't put the president...
See what he said, I can take Cuba. You go on the word take, another synonym for take means steal. The scripture said the thief come not but to steal, kill, and destroy. And you know that I think just recently, I think it's in front of the White House, Trump has erected a statue of Christopher Columbus, which he is the thief. He stole these lands, he stole the people and enslaved them, killed a lot of them with the sword. It says in his diary that he didn't put his sword down for an hour or something. I can't remember how it's quoted. That he basically slaughtered those people. And Esau Edom is still in that mindset. He's not going to change the slaughter with the sword. Just like it said in we read out of Genesis, the 27th chapter, kill with the sword. There's a quote, I think, because I don't remember how it's quoted. He didn't let his sword rest for an hour. Christopher Columbus or something like that. He didn't. It's, hour or something like that. Let me see what they give us. Yeah, it says based on his journals and recorded writings, Christopher Columbus did not say he did not let his sword rest. The quote appears to be a misinterpretation or slight alter of his recorded observation regarding the indigenous people lack of weapons and his assessment of their vulnerability. It says weapons they have none, nor are acquainted with them. For I showed them swords which they grasped by the blades and cut themselves through ignorance. They had no iron, no javelin, being without, and nothing more than sticks, though some had fish bones and other things at the end. Now, I can't remember how it is. It is quoted something like that. He didn't let his sword rest for an hour. Of course, they're not gonna tell you shit. Misquote. Yeah, I can't find it like cause it's something to that effect. Cause I don't want to make this. Let me see. I can't. It was something. It was something like that. A diary that he wrote. Yeah, I don't want to spend too time looking for it, but it's something maybe I can. Maybe cause I didn't. All right. Yeah, I tried to find that quote. I can't find it. Where Christopher Columbus didn't let his sword down for an hour or something like that. Basically demonstrating the same spirit that Esau Edom is still currently in. With the waging of the sword. He's using that blessing, and yeah, I can't find that quote. I haven't seen it in a long time. I'm just going to finish this video. Wait, bring it back a little bit.
Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, had to say early this month. Death and destruction from the sky, all day long. We're playing for keeps. The only ones that need to be worried right now are Iranians that think they're going to live. Listening to that, it's really hard not to hear the words of Richard Ramirez, aka the Night Stalker. And I quote, "Serial killers do on a small scale what governments do on a large one. They are products of our times, and these are bloodthirsty times." But it's not just his war in Iran. This is what President Donald Trump sounds like when he's talking about terrorizing Cuba. I do believe I'll be having the honor of taking Cuba. That's a big honor. Taking Cuba in some form, yeah. Taking Cuba. I mean, whether I free it, take it, I can do anything I want with it. You want to know the truth? Now put the president's words alongside this. From Jeffrey Dahmer, I just wanted to have the person under my complete control. This man is supposed to be the leader of the free world. It should be a much bigger deal than it is, particularly in our American media, that the president of the United States is talking about potentially continuing massive strikes. And I quote, just for fun.
So what it shows you there, Esau is that bloody man, right? He's the bloody man. You know, it says, you want to take Cuba, he's waging war. Um, the devil has, woe to the inhabitants, on Revelations 12 and 12. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil has come down unto you having great wrath, because he know he has but a short time. So, you know, he's waging warfare, wars and rumors of wars, you know, which is prophesied that these things are going to happen before the return of Yahawahshi, the Messiah, right? And he's waging war on all these other countries, you know, war after war after war, right? And Esau is the bloody man. You know, the thief come not but to steal, kill, and destroy. Going back to even this guy Christopher Columbus, that's what he was doing, killing, destroying, stealing, killing, and destroying. So they're still doing that, like he said about Cuba. I can take it. Another synonym, similar word to take means to steal. So Esau is that bloody man, and I'm gonna get some precepts on that. It says Psalms 26 and 9. It says, "Gather not my soul with sinners, nor my life with bloody men." Right. So that's Esau Edom. He's always waging war with the sword. He's the bloody man. Another precept, Psalm 55 and 23, it says, "But thou, O power, Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi, shall bring them down to the pit of destruction. Bloody and deceitful men shall not live out half their days, but I will trust in thee." Right. Another precept out of Psalms chapter 59 and 2, it says, "Deliver me from the workers of iniquity and save me from bloody men." Right. Esau, Edom, you know, because we need a savior. We need salvation, right? The children of Israel, basically the elect that trust in Yahweh bahasham Yahawashi, we understand we need salvation. We need Yahweh bahasham Yahawashi as the protector, our defender. You know, he's our power, right? And this devil was given the power to take over the world through the force of the sword, by the force of the sword, because that's how he's living. On the Genesis 27, right? Psalms 139 and 19, it says, "Surely thou wilt slay the wicked, O power, Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi. Depart from me, therefore, ye bloody men." Right? So the Lord is going to slay the wicked. That's what Yahawahshi, the Messiah, is coming back to do, to slay the wicked. Because if the Lord didn't come back, shorten the times, the days, there'll be no flesh left to be saved. Because Esau Edom is the son of perdition, the son of this, which means destruction, right? Waging war with the sword that he was blessed by. And you see that, and that's how he's obtaining the fatness of the earth, through warfare. He's going around the earth waging war and taking over the substance of the earth and maintaining his trying to maintain his status of being in the heavenly places, right? And basically rulership, being in the being basically the ruler of the earth, you know, at this current moment, right? And that's how he's obtaining the earth rulership, through his blessing, which is the sword, right? So that was a demonstration of what's going on. You know, that's the reason why he's waging these wars. He's taking over people's lands, the fatness of the earth, which is natural resources, which you go into that word fatness. It says oil, which also means other natural resources, gold, oil, you know, diamonds, silver, lithium, whatever other natural resources out there that Esau needs to obtain, you know, to maintain his rulership. So I'm going to end it off there. Holds edifying to the elect. I want to say, call like Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi, bahasham Rawchaa Qadash. Shalom to the next time. Yahawah Rawchaa, which means Lord willing. And why abba babal.